one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. Just gotta mean something, you. They gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2 3. 1 2 3.
You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps cause they know what happens next. So without further ado,
Free smoke.
look. Scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much I have you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa Bars forever, like they decided to throw me under Slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop 1,000,000 songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our blocks, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Winning has a price. And leadership has a price.
When did winning not become the main thing? I always say keep the main thing, where, winning is the only thing that truly matters.
Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Yo, my voice felt real strong just now, you know what I'm saying? Like, that felt very good right there. I felt real strong, real power. I missed my fist. Real powerful right there, you know what I'm saying? Like, welcome back. You know, it wasn't a lazy one. But yo, welcome back to the show, or welcome to the show, because you might be a first time listener. Welcome to the show. We got a lot to talk about. I hope everybody is having a dope day, though. Obviously, that is the first thing. I hope everybody out there is having a dope day, dope afternoon, dope night, whichever point in time you're listening to this. I appreciate you for joining me. I really do. If you like what you hear, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff to help out the channel, a up and coming channel, as you will, hopefully, But listen, the NBA Finals, they are here, and we made some predictions. I specifically made a prediction that Dallas would win in 7. So we got a lot to talk about, seeing as how Dallas just lost game 1. But I'm not panicked. I expected this to happen. If they're going to get to 7 games, that means they got to lose 3 of them. And I told you Dallas was going to end up blowing them out, getting blown out in one of these games, specifically, possibly game 1. Not only does Dallas struggle in game 1s under Jason Kidd, I believe they 1-6 in game 1s. But Boston is at home in game 1. They're going to be able to open the series strong. It's something about Boston playing at home. I just feel like most teams, when you got the home court advantage, usually you start pretty strong, especially when you got a team as good as Boston. Plus, I felt as though, as good as the competition was in the in the Western Conference, that built up Dallas to be able to withstand a team like the Boston Celtics. Not that they were just going to walk through the Celtics because they played the tougher competition. Some people would say because they played the tougher competition, they would be tired at this point in time. I don't believe that. when you're going for an NBA championship and 4 games is all you have to win in order to capture that, you can throw being tired out of the window. I don't believe that. But because they played tough competition, I believe it prepared them to be able to withstand these type of body blows that the Boston Celtics are going to throw. Because a lesser team, this will be basically damn near a knockout blow. You wouldn't know how to fight your way back from this. But a great player like Luka, Kyrie, they're not going to, this first game, this not going to break them. They expected to lose in Boston, whether it be game 1 or 2. Losing by 50 points, 20 points, 2 points, 1 point. Doesn't matter. A loss is a loss at the end of the day. But they did lose by a hefty margin, and we're going to talk about it. Now, listen. I said the thing about Dallas is, the thing about the Boston Celtics is they shoot the three-pointer. They basically live and die by the three. And they shoot it pretty good when they are hitting. And they got a lot of different options on that team. But see, the interesting thing I said coming into this series would be Luka, Porzingis, that not necessarily that matchup, but seeing as how they were on the same team before, and then Kyrie in Boston. And all of it kind of played out. Luka balled out. Porzingis balled out. The crowd booed Kyrie every time he touched the ball. That's going to get irritating throughout the series. It got irritating in game 1. But nonetheless, this will be, to me, still a 7-game series. But it was a lot of things that Dallas got to fix after game 1. Now, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much am I worried? It's a 0 for me. I'm not worried at all. I expected Boston to pretty much do exactly what they came out there and did in game 1. I don't think that they're unguardable. I just think sometimes when Boston is at its best, and I don't think Boston will have another night where they hitting the shots that they was hitting tonight. They might have one more night where they can knock down threes at that rate. But if you stroll back to the finals against the Warriors that they had a couple years back, the back end of game 2, I believe it was, or game 1, where they shot a record margin on how great they shot in the second half of that game from 3, they never replicated that again in this series. So, in that series. So, Boston has these games where they just go unbelievable from downtown. And I think they hit like 16 or 17 threes compared to like 6 for the Dallas Mavericks. And Dallas shot bad. But I think that's because when you go into a place like Boston, that home crowd is nuts. You know they had the advantage. You know it's going to be loud throughout the entirety of the game. You have to take their hearts early, like a Steph Curry. You have to get them out of that game early. You have to have them on the edge of their seats, not wanting to really make no noise early in that game. Because they got down so early, I think it was so hard to extend all the energy they did in that third quarter to get back into the game. And then in the fourth quarter and towards the end of that third quarter, you just let the game slip away again. And you could end up losing by double figures again. I believe that understanding what game 1 was and what to expect in game 2, I don't think Dallas will go down like that again. And if they do, boy, it's going to be tough. But I don't see them playing as bad as they played in game 1. PJ Washington had a decent game. He shot the ball. He really was the only player who shot the ball at a decent percentage from the floor for the Mavericks. But he can be even better. Not to mention, I think he'll understand how to play better defense on Porzingis when he has that matchup. A lot of different times, the Celtics were able to get open for different type of opportunities. I think if you're the Celtics, because it's a couple, not the Celtics, if you're Dallas, there's a couple things you're trying to figure out. What form of defense gives you your best path to victory? And in a sense, what I'm saying is the Celtics have so many options. What defense, or who do you have to guard, or what defensive scheme is it that you can put in place that will minimize the damage as much as possible to give you the opportunity to win? And what I think it is by stopping the others. I think if you make Jason Tatum, not even necessary, because Jason Tatum done had an interesting playoff run to this point. Jaylen Brown jacking up shots because he get hot and stuff like that. That to me don't kill you. What kill you is when he eventually start to hit those shots, but you got Drew Holiday hitting shots, Pritchard hitting shots, the other white dude whose name I don't know at this moment hitting those shots. Like when it's a whole bunch of other dudes on the Celtics hitting shots and Jason Tatum now hitting shots. Because as crazy as this is, some games it feel like Jason Tatum play more like a role player. I mean, and vice versa for Jaylen Brown. I told you, it's very interesting that they have not figured out how to get these two dudes going at the same time in the same quarters. It's very interesting, but nonetheless, they maximizing the way that they choose to play. But because the Boston Celtics are such an ISO heavy team, like even Porzingis was ISOing a lot to score all the points he scored. And he had a hot start to the game. Shout out to him. Like phenomenal game by Kristaps Porzingis. Balled out in that first quarter. 11 points. What was it? 3 blocks or what was it? 3 rebounds, 2 blocks or something like that. Great quarter, great half. He only finished. Now, he did end up having a great first half. A great game, really, because his impact. But, I mean, you kind of figured him out towards the back end of the game. Like you limited the damage. To me, once you settle in, and plus, to me, it's a big difference between taking shots when you up by 20 and taking shots when you up 10. I mean, up 5 or down 2. You know what I'm saying? Kristaps Porzingis might not be as comfortable taking some of the shots he took in this game if the game is closer down the stretch. Also, Jaylen Brown. To me, as good as I understand people love Jaylen Brown. I understand how great people think Jaylen Brown is. I get all that. I'm still late on that train at the moment. So I still believe there is a reality in which you can get him doing too much. And when he do too much, that gives you the best chance at capitalizing, because then he started to dribble too much and turn the ball over. He started to just commit boneheaded turnovers at that. He started missing shots because he jack up bad shots. I still believe it's a world where you can get to that type of defense if you the Dallas Mavericks. Not to mention, if Kyrie is hitting his shots and Luka is hitting his shots, it make it easier on your defense anyways, because then the Boston Celtics, they might be prone to taking bad shots because they like, okay, we have to match what those two do. So I think the biggest change that the that the Dallas Mavericks are going to make. Now, obviously, I just talked a lot about the defense, but the biggest change is actually what they do on offense. Because at the end of the day, Dallas is still going to be led by what they do on offense. And Kyrie cannot be this bad in game 2. He can't. He have to be a legitimate 25 plus point per game scorer. And we know he can do that. But this is why I was irritated when people were saying that Kyrie was like the most talented player we've ever seen. And you was doing it off of recency bias. But to me, it's crazy that it's even a recency bias that you're using that for. Because if you take Luka off of this Dallas team, Dallas is not even in the playoffs. So I understand how great Kyrie is. But everything in context, and you don't even really need context, bro. Luka Doncic is better than him right now. So, and I can make an argument Luka is the better player all time, period. But I'm not here to try to bash brother Kyrie. At the end of the day, Kyrie got to be more aggressive. And it's not even about being aggressive, because I think Kyrie actually was aggressive, but he just took some bad shots in that first quarter when things started getting out of hand. Maybe he got to adjust to, hearing the crowd boo him the whole game. Now, this ain't really nothing new to him, because I believe he have played in Boston since leaving Boston the first time around. Now, they're going to be in an elevated noise because it is the finals, and they don't want to lose yet another finals. But because I think the last 3 times they've been there has been L's, or the last 2 times at least. They lost to the Lakers with Kobe. They lost to the Warriors, and I don't think they got back until they got there with the Warriors, against the Warriors, and they lost that. And now this will be the 3rd time they've been back since that point. So they trying to make noise. They don't want to see their team lose another finals. They want to they trying to pass LA, or I think is it pass or tie? I can't even think of it at the moment. But nonetheless, fuck Boston. But Kyrie has to be more aggressive, because if Kyrie play as bad as he play, it make it easier for the defense for the Boston Celtics. Because that's the whole thing. You want the Dallas Mavericks defense to be better, but they can't be better if their offense isn't better, because it's no point of going up the court constantly getting stops and not being able to score, because at some point in time, Boston's going to be able to score. Boston is a team that can score the basketball. So to me, the biggest help for the defense for Dallas is being able to score on the offensive side of the ball. Now, I think Luka will be fine. I understand he took a lot of shots, but Luka balled out in the third quarter, and that's one of the reasons they got down by 8 points. I just think when you extend that much energy, having to come back down from 28, 29 points, like, you get tired. It just is what it is. So I expect a more team-oriented game plan from the Dallas Mavericks, but I'm not panicking from the Dallas. Now, game 2 will be the interesting. How does Dallas adjust from seeing the Boston Celtics in game 1? Because at the end of the day, for Dallas, it's always going to come down to Luka, Kyrie. It's not going to always come down to Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Ultimately, possibly, yeah, it will. But at the end of the day, they just got a great team. Like, you just saw it. The best player in game 1 for them was Kristaps. Drew Holiday might have a game where he the best player. So you have to be great if you Kyrie and Luka. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown don't necessarily have to be great in a lot of people's eyes, and I guess I understand that to an extent. I just still believe it's a reality, and in this one, quite possibly, they have to, one of them two, have to be great for the entire series in order to win a finals. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. And people keep, I done had people tell me great teams don't win. I'm not arguing that great teams haven't won. What I'm saying is when you look at every single one of those great teams, it was still a player on that great team that was the best player throughout the entire series. Not just because they gave him that trophy at the end that said he was the best. If you look at all those games, he was clearly the best player on that team. And if you took him off, they don't win that finals. That's why I'm irritated that Andre Iguodala won finals MVP over Steph Curry. That made absolutely no sense. No sense to me to this day. But we're not here to rehash that. Now, a lot of people think it's over. A lot of people throwing in the white flag. They say Dallas. It's over for Dallas. I don't believe that, man. I mean, we don't have to. People don't have to learn from this by now, right? Saying teams is down and out only for teams to just end up reeling off a couple dubs and whatnot. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen in this situation. I'm just saying we not learned our lesson from saying teams is done. Now, to me, if you're the Boston Celtics, I really hate what I'm about to say. I'm actually a bit irritated by what I'm about to say, but I must say what I have to say. If you're the Boston Celtics, you can look at this game and say we didn't even play the best we could play. However, this is my caveat, because I know it'll be people who say, even Boston fans who will say, we didn't even play the best we could play. Porzingis had that type of game, and I know he averaged like 20 during the season, but some people will say, well, he can do that. Jason Tatum can do what he do, and Jaylen Brown can do what he do. And then it could be even better. My caveat would be, or my rebuttal to that would be, it will not be a single game throughout these finals where all of them dudes, in my opinion, go for 25 plus a game or even 20 plus. Nah, it could be a possibility where all of them struggle, but they still find a way to get. But I do not think it'll be a game in this series where they dominate and have three dudes, all those three dudes specifically, Kristaps, Tatum, Jaylen Brown, go for like 25 strong points apiece plus. Like just dominating, where all three of them dudes like, to me, the best you'll get from those three is the type of game they had game 1, where one of them is specifically dominating, like Porzingis, and the other two basically do enough to keep the game flowing throughout and keep that lead and whatnot, but don't necessarily have to go crazy or nothing like that. I think that's the best version you're going to get from the Boston Celtics based off of how they play. Because they don't play a game in which all three of them dudes would go crazy every single game. Because if they did, they would have won this. They would win this finals in probably 4 games. See, I think the biggest reason that a lot of people picked the Boston Celtics to win this, the people who picked it to be a sweep, or they'll picked it to be 1-5. I think the biggest reason for it is because what you believe is that not only do the Boston Celtics have a more talented roster, which I agree with that point, but you see the Boston Celtics in a way that I don't see them. You believe that the best version of the Celtics is having all three of them dudes ball out at the same time. And I agree that's the best version of the Celtics. Where we disagree on is I don't think you done seen that version of the Celtics at any point, even when they had three other different best players with Tatum and Brown. They didn't all ball out at the same time. And that's why they haven't won a championship. Now, for me to be wrong, they would end up winning a championship. Now, granted, they don't even have to all ball out at the same time to end up winning the championship. They can end up doing what they did in game one. Dallas can bring the exact same thing they brought in game one, and bing, bong, bada, boom. But I don't think that's going to happen. Luka is not going down in a suite or in the gentleman's suite. Luka going to fight. I don't think the series is anywhere near being over. Anywhere near being over. It's a lot of series left. Now, I do understand the Celtics fans who say, well, Jason Tatum can still have a better game, yada, yada, yada. I do agree with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying is when Jason Tatum have his great game, Porzingis will not have the game he just had. He will probably mirror the game that Tatum had. Kyrie and Luka, however, done figured out how to both ball out at the same time and both ball out and make a difference. So that's the difference. And that's why I think Luka and Kyrie are going to have a chance to still win this series. That's why I picked them in 7. Now, some people will say, Saint, well, you just holding on to your pick. Why would I not after just one game, my guy? That'd be insane for me to panic after one game. And I don't, even though I picked the Celtics to lose in 7, even with that, I legitimately have no panic after the Celtics won game 1 like that. I don't, because I expected them to blow out the the Dallas Mavericks at some point in time in this series. Now, at some point in time in this series, the Celtics can be blown out too because those threes just won't fall. And then the Celtics will begin to act like the sky is falling. So, because it's something that they done seen before recently, basically, when they lost the finals to the Warriors. But we got a good finals ahead, man. I don't think there's going to be no sweep or no gentleman's sweep. We got a good finals ahead. I want to shift to talking about A'ja Wilson for a quick moment. The WNBA played tonight, but I was at work, so I didn't get to watch the games. I'm gonna have to check out the highlights tomorrow. I don't even know if I had time because I got to go to a graduation tomorrow, so I don't know if I have time at all to watch those highlights for tomorrow. But nonetheless, if you haven't been watching the WNBA and let's say you want to get into the WNBA, you want something to watch and you want something guaranteed, like you want to watch something and you say, and Caitlin Clark scored 30 tonight. So shout out to Caitlin Clark. And you say, I want to watch somebody who I know for a fact is going to show up and ball out. Well, look no further than A'ja Wilson. A'ja Wilson is absolute animal. Absolute fucking animal right now. What she is doing is unbelievable. Like, I always say, I don't think that we truly appreciate athletes enough because of all the different things that go into sports nowadays. But when you just sit back and analyze an athlete and you ask yourself, bro, how is this person as great as they are, as consistently? And the craziest part is when athletes continue to get better. It's like a chef who continues to get better at cooking different foods. Like, they cook this dish one way, but then a couple years later, or maybe a year later, a couple months later, they done found a new way to cook it, and now it's even better. the athletes who are great but continue, like, I understand a lot of people measure athletes in just pure championships. And to me, while championships is one of the most important things to determine a legacy, I don't ever take away great athletes, like being like, I'm never going to look at a great athlete and say, oh, because they haven't won this many championships or haven't won a championship, they're not great. That's crazy. When you look at these athletes, and even when you just look at the champions, the Kobe Bryants, the LeBron James, Steph Currys, Michael Jordans, Candace Parkers, Lisa Leslie, Maya Moores, Asia Wilsons, Aaron Donalds, Tom Brady's, Peyton Manning's, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson's, the Wayne Gretzky's of the world, the Sidney Crosby's of the world, the Albert Pujols's of the world, like Mookie Betts of the world, the Shohei Ohtani's, the Bryce Harper's, did I say Mike Trout's, the Derek Jeter's. Like, when you look at what goes into being the Cristiano Ronaldo's, the Messi's, like the level, the Michael Phelps, the Gabby Douglas, the Simone Biles, like when the Serena Williams, the Venus Williams, the Roger Federer's, the I can't think of the my other tennis players' names, the Coco Gauffs, the Naomi Osaka's. When you think about what goes into being the level of athlete that those athletes are, the Michael Jordans, day in, day out, they have to bring a certain level of excellence to the game. And they got to do it year in and year out. And at any point, if they don't, people could say, oh, the legacy going this way, the legacy taking a dip here. Year in, year out. These the greats of the greats. The ones who you cannot talk about the sport without talking about these athletes. It just amazes me how one can commit themselves so much to a craft and not only excel at the craft, but keep finding ways to get better at the craft. Asia Wilson's unbelievable. What a season. And Breanna Stewart the other night against the Chicago Sky. Oh my goodness. Like, continuing to find ways to be great. Continuing to find ways to put your imprint on a game. Continuing to find ways to push the needle. This is why I understand. Let's say there were WNBA players who were irritated because everybody keeps saying you should be appreciative of Caitlin Clark, yada, yada, yada. That's people who lack any type of competitiveness. Because if I'm Breanna Stewart, if I'm Asia Wilson, I'm like, I'd be damned if I think you should just be talking about Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark not better than me. What I'm doing right now, they're going to be talking about this for years to come. The people who know WNBA ball. Like, when you as great as some of these women are, should they not want to be talked about more than Caitlin Clark? I never seen a great player say, no, talk about that person more than you talk about me. I never seen a great player say, nah, that person is better than me, so, go talk to them. Talk about them more. I never seen a great player who didn't want people talking about how great they were. Instead, they said, nah, don't talk about how great I am. Talk about how great they are. Not when it came to their competition. So, listen, I understand there's a lot of people out there who just stan Caitlin Clark and just adore Caitlin. And I fuck with Caitlin Clark heavy. I'm not a stan because I hate stans. But listen, man, I'm gonna be talking about Caitlin Clark. I am gonna go back and watch Caitlin's third. I gotta go back and watch my Sparks, man. I don't even know if we done won or lost yet. I haven't checked the scores or anything like that. But I fear we probably lost because that's the way the season been going for us. I'm going to tell you the real unfortunate thing is we suck, but the Mystics suck worse than us. So they'll end up getting Paige Buchers, and I'm disappointed in that, to be completely honest with you. Whoever get Juju Watkins, that's who really going to be hooping when she end up coming into the league in, 2 years. Shout out to Angel Reese. Absolute hoop, bro. The ref who threw her out the game the other night. What a clown. What a clown. Yo, you got your feelings hurt. She was talking shit to you. She walking away and you still threw out the game. That was some whole shit. But nonetheless, shout out to Angel Reese, man. Shout out to Kennedy Carter. Both of those young ladies put together back-to-back good games. Lost one, won the other. One in a comeback effort against the Mystics because everybody beating the Washington Mystics. They just can't seem to pick up a dub. But shout out to Aaliyah Edwards. She done balled out in her last 2 games with the Mystics. They lost both games, but she balled out nonetheless. So shout out to those 3 ladies. But specifically Angel Reese. Oh, my goodness. This is why I said it was hard to determine who Rookie of the Year right now because her and Caitlin do so much for their teams. Now, the reason I lean Caitlin is because Caitlin have the edge in the point department, and us hoes love the points. However, Caitlin obviously is not the defender that Angel Reese is, and I understand the people who would say she ain't the hustle type of player that Angel Reese is. However, I really do like Caitlin's game, and I think if Caitlin was on the Sparks right now, she would so far and away be the runaway Rookie of the Year. She probably would look far better. No, she would 100% look far better than she would look right now because to have those type of shooters around her, yo, she would give Rakia Jackson, Cam Brink, Hamby, so many open looks. Lexi Brown, like Kia Nurse, they would get so many open opportunities with Caitlin Clark on the squad. But, and I guess because I think of it like that, that's why I also lean Caitlin Clark. Because I don't believe, well, that don't really matter, that next point I was about to make. But you just look at Caitlin Clark right now and you look at Angel Reese right now. I just think and Angel Reese lead all rookies in win shares. I believe I saw that stat was yesterday, which makes sense because most of these rookies teams suck right now. But outside, when you just step away from win-loss, when you look at what they contribute to their teams, I just think right now it's very easy to see why Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark is going neck and neck for Rookie of the Year. And it's just so beautiful that this rivalry has went from college to the pros, and they both is battling. Like, it'd be different if one of them didn't show up or if neither showed up. But both of them right now is showing up and making it a battle. They got everybody talking about the WNBA more. They got everybody talking about the WNBA, period. Whether you hate them, love them, most people, it's a lot of people out there who hate Angel Reese, but it's a lot of people out there who hate Caitlin Clark, or specifically I think it's they hate Caitlin Clark stands. But nonetheless, I think it's a beautiful rivalry. People keep comparing it to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and whatnot, but I think the ignorance on Twitter and the ignorance in America is why people have brought in race into it. Now, I do understand that some people would say, like Becky Hammond, it just highlights how black and brown girls have not gotten the credit in the spotlight that they have deserved over the years. But outside of that, it's the people on Twitter who making it like, oh, it's a race war and shit like that. But I don't believe that. I believe this is competition at the end of the day. And for the people who believe that these women should just roll over because Caitlin Clark came into the league, you're a goofy individual. But I want to go back to the NBA Finals for a quick second, or probably longer than a quick second, to be completely honest with you. But I want to go back to the NBA Finals because I want to talk about Luka, not Luka, the centers. This will be an interesting series for the 2 centers for the Dallas Mavericks, because when you looked at them in that last series, Rudy Gobert can't shoot. So it's easy to have those dudes playing on the court. And then when you had Karl Anthony Towns struggling to shoot the ball the way he did, you could have PJ Tucker on him. And hell, sometimes you could just put random people on him because he struggled to shoot the ball the way he did. In this series, however, Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis can shoot the 3. And if you leave, now I said this when the Celtics was in that run when they got to the finals and lost to the Warriors, and Al Horford was having those big games. I said the law of averages will average out. Al Horford will begin to miss 3-pointers. just because that is exactly what Al Horford does. Like at some point in time, Al Horford will begin to miss. And he did. So now you don't want to, I said it at the time. I said what I'm about to say, I said at the time also. You don't want to rely on the averages averaging out because it might average out when it's too late for you to come back and win this series. So you don't want to bank on that. But you do want to keep that in the back of your head. But you do want to keep playing defense on it. You don't want to just leave them wide open. But it's going to be very interesting to see how those two centers for the Dallas Mavericks play when you have a Kristaps Porzingis and you have, because Kristaps Porzingis is more like he do kind of play like a Karl Anthony Towns. And the thing is, neither one of them, like Kristaps uses his height, but it's really for jump shots, not really to dominate down low. Karl Anthony Towns don't really use his weight advantage or his size advantage because he don't really bang down low. Both of them is really big men who like to shoot jump shots. So if you put a hand in, if you just bother them, you can, like you bothered Karl Anthony Towns. I still believe it's because Kristaps don't play great when you put a lot of contact on him. That's what we done seen throughout the years. So I do believe if you figure out how to put to constantly keep contact on Kristaps, like you don't want to foul him obviously, but you can't just let him, dance around out there, just take easy shots, shoot over people. You know what I'm saying? You got to push him around and do different things like that. You can't just let Kristaps go out there and have a bunch of practice shots, especially since he is like 7'3" it feel like. So that's gonna be interesting when you look, because he took one of those centers off the dribble. I can't remember exactly which one it was. I think it was Lively. Just took him clean the fuck off of the dribble for an easy dunk. Like, that is going to be one of the most important parts of this series. All the scoring, yeah, that's fine. They're going to have to try to figure out how do they utilize those two centers for their team. Because if they don't, it's going to get real fucking interesting. Real interesting. Now, I want to shift to something else. Dan Hurley. He won back-to-back national championships with UConn Huskies in men's college basketball. The Lakers are preparing to offer him a fat-ass multi-year contract, I read, to become the next head coach of the Lakers. A couple days ago, JJ Redick, reports had dropped that he was all but hired as the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. So who knows who you trust nowadays? I don't watch college men's basketball, so I wouldn't have even known that UConn won two back-to-back national championships the past 2 years. I couldn't have even told you that. But I would take anybody no, I will not. I'm not going to say that. But I did not want JJ Redick to be the head coach of the Lakers. If you did, I don't care. A lot of people are trying to say that, this is like Steve Kerr when he was when he got hired. No, it's not. Bro, Steve Kerr might have gotten hired from the desk to the coaching seat, but Steve Kerr had worked in the head department or in the front office of NBA teams with the Spurs, with the Suns. I think it was another team he worked with. This was not his first time being a part of an NBA franchise, ladies and gentlemen. And listen, I understand. JJ Redick got fans out there. JJ Redick got fans out there. I'm not the biggest JJ Redick guy. I'm not going to lie to you. But I know JJ Redick got a lot of fans out there. But I did not want JJ Redick to be the head coach of the Lakers. I thought that would have been a goofy move. The Lakers need to be thinking about how they're going to build this franchise going forward, bro. LeBron is not going to be here before what? Hopefully a max 2 more years. I wanted him to want to out this year, but I don't think that's going to happen. But hopefully LeBron days in LA is numbered. I always see Shannon Sharp say Laker fans should be appreciative of LeBron James being a Laker because we didn't have this success before he came along. Shannon, real Laker fans, while some of us may be starved for success in a way some may say, bro, winning is not new to us. Yes, have we gone through a rough couple years before LeBron had gotten here? Absolutely. What has been different between those struggling years and when LeBron done got here? Because real Laker fans don't really care about that bubble championship outside of being able to talk shit to the Celtics. But we don't look at that shit the way we look at all the other championships we won. That's just being a band. So when you look at his time in LA, sure, we done got to the playoffs a couple times. But it's been the difference between when we had Lonzo, B.I., Kuz, Hart, and all those dudes. We didn't win a championship with them. We didn't win one with these dudes. Of course, the bubble championship. But to me, I don't understand why Shannon wants us real Laker fans, not the LeBron stans who go where LeBron go, but real Laker fans that done been here. I don't know why you want us to act like, oh, we so thankful for you, LeBron. We were so... No, bro. We done seen winning. We done been a part of winning. We done had teams that won for a very long time. Do we like losing? No. But a lot of us loved that young core we was building. A lot of us do not like these LeBron stans, and we don't like that we continue to be confused with LeBron stans, but that's a conversation for another day. That's a conversation for another day. I can't really speak too much on Dan Hurley at the end of the day because, like I said, I don't watch college basketball. I'm not a fan of college basketball. I think the refs do far too much in that sport. At least the last time I watched it and it was so bad, I said, yeah, I can't watch this. Can't do it. Can't do it. I don't really know how, like, shout out to the people who can sit and watch college basketball. I don't know how y'all do it. I don't like college football either. I basically don't like college sports. I like college women's basketball. I watch UNC when they make it to the championship or to the tournament. Let me put it like that. I watch UNC when they make it to the tournament. Yo, I got a story for y'all, though, before we get in the show. Because I went to Monday Night Raw in Greensboro, North Carolina. Like, I want to say like, what, maybe 3 months? I mean, not 3 months, like 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. So I had went to Greensboro, North Carolina to go to Raw. Absolute worst fucking Raw. Fuck Raw. It was the worst WWE show that I had been to. For one, it was the worst WWE show I'd have never been to. But it was the worst WWE show from that last Raw before the pay-per-view all the way to the latest show they done had up to tonight. That was by far the worst one. No stars showed up except for Becky Lynch. But I don't even think she had a match. I think she was just out there talking. And Liv Morgan came out to talk. So Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch was like the biggest people there. They came out to talk. Damian Priest was there, but he didn't even come out. He was standing in the back. Now, you got to understand. For me, I could give two fucks if Damian Priest came out or didn't come out. I could have cared less if he had a match. But if he had a match, you could have at least said Damian Priest had a match and he the champion. That didn't even happen. Now, granted, Gunther did have a match and Jey Uso had a match. So I know some people be like, well, Saint, Jey Uso and Gunther, two big names. I agree with you. The way y'all see Jey Uso is not the way I see Jey Uso, but I do understand Jey Uso is a star at the moment. Gunther, you got me. He is a flat out star. However, I just feel as though, and maybe I'm spoiled because I done been to a lot of big shows, yo. Like, I went to that Hell in a Cell when the cage came down and it was all red out there with the Fiend when Bray Wyatt was there. R.I.P. to Bray. I went to that show. I went to the Kofi Kingston, Randy Orton show. I done seen Brock Lesnar at a show. I was at the Dean Ambrose return when he came back jacked up. I came I done seen in a dark match. I done seen the Shield, like Roman Reigns when he was with the Shield. I'm trying to think. I done seen a lot. I done seen Braun Strowman back in the day when he was like still one of the top dudes. I done seen Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Bayley. I ain't never seen Bianca yet. I think I done seen the Street Profits. I'm pretty sure. No, I done seen the Usos. My brother done seen The Rock, Undertaker, Stone Cold, Mick Foley. Like, so I understand that I'm spoiled. I understand that I done went to some big shows. And a lot of these shows we didn't even expect. Like, the show that Brock came to, he wasn't even advertised to be on the show. It was just out of nowhere that Paul Heyman, I seen Paul Heyman, that him and Paul Heyman showed up. Dean Ambrose, obviously, that was a shock return. I done had pretty great seats at every single event. But so we at the event. The event is phenomenal. Now, everything's so expensive. Everything's so expensive. Like, this was an outrage. So at one of the, so it was at the Greensboro Coliseum. I think that's what it's called, the Greensboro Coliseum. I don't know what they do there, but they had what do you call the thing? They had a video. What do you call the things that hang in the middle of NBA arenas? Whatever you call that, the video screens that hang in the middle of the NBA arenas, whatever those is called, because I can't think of it at the moment right now. They have them in NBA arenas too. Because I was in Charlotte one time. I went to Charlotte. I went to a WWE event that was in Charlotte one time at the what's that team? The Charlotte Hornets arena. Whatever that thing is in the middle of the arenas in the football fields. Well, some football fields don't have it, but the Dallas Cowboys have it at theirs. Video board, whatever it's called. It's a specific name for it that I can't think of right now. A Tron, a Titantron, I think is what it might be called. I can't think of it at the moment, but nonetheless, they had one at this Greensboro Coliseum. But so we was there. We went there, right, and we went to get something to eat before the show. Because we had got there early enough to get something to eat. And we go to the first spot, right? My homeboy was like, bro, we getting something to eat, bro. We gonna get whatever. And then we saw how high these prices were. Now, we done got things to eat from these places before, but I think the reason we didn't realize how high some of these places were, because a lot of the times when we go to these events, we get like name brand food places when we go. Like, it's always a place like Burger King done been there. Bojangles done been there. Like, we usually get places like that. So we didn't really realize. And yeah, it's a little upcharge for those things too, but not a major upcharge, because those places are still going to make their money because that's a brand. People going to ultimately want the lines for Bojangles at the Charlotte Hornets arena was crazy. And they got like 5. No, they got way more than 5. I think they got like, and I could be wrong, I think they got like 7 to 8 Bojangles on the upper floor, like the bottom to like on all the different floors. They got like at least 3 Bojangles, or like 2 to 3 Bojangles on every floor. Like, and the lines for these Bojangles. Now, it was a pay-per-view when I went to the one in Charlotte, so it was a lot of people there anyways. So it's going to be a lot of people, a lot of lines, a lot of long lines. Like my brother wanted a funnel cake, and that line was long. But so we went and we got, so that's usually what we eat. So we didn't really realize how expensive some of the other places that weren't branded, but like just pop-up like food places. And one of the places was like a steak type of barbecue place. They serve like pulled pork sandwich, pulled barbecue sandwiches, hamburgers, hot dogs, French fries, cup French fries, like a big cup full of French fries. The problem was everything was like $15 up. So you got to make sure you always got money. That wasn't the biggest problem. Now, one of my biggest problems was at this event, they also did not have pizza. Like, they didn't have a Domino's. They didn't have a Papa John's. At one of the events I went to one time, they had a Papa John's. But that was probably a pay-per-view I went to that was sponsored by Papa John's at the time. Nonetheless, they didn't have a pizza place unless I just didn't go to all the food spots. But the food place right beside that one also had food. Everything was like $2 cheaper than what it was at the one beside it. The one beside, however, the more expensive one must have been the one with the better food because that line was still far longer. Here was the caveat. The one beside it that was cheaper also had cup of French fries for $2 cheaper. Like the cup of French fries at the cheap place was $7. At the expensive place, it was $10. So it actually was like $3 cheaper. The cup of French fries now both cups was big cups. So you got a whole bunch of French fries in both cups. Here was the problem. The French fries for the more expensive place was like shoestring French fries. So they was real skinny. And I do not like shoestring French fries. The French fries for the less expensive place was more like a normal size French fry, but a little bit bigger than the McDonald's fry. And like a beer batter type of fry with good seasoning on it. Like the size of a nacho fry from Taco Bell with a great seasoning on it. And it was like just as big a cup. So you got just as many French fries. And they was being hella generous. So the French fries was like falling all over the top out of the cup and shit. You definitely got your money's worth. Like I know most people say, well, $7 for a cup of French fries is not worth it, period. But you got a pretty decent sized cup. And it was a lot of French fries. Like the people who served your food, the servers, were not being like selfish with the portion sizes. Like they gave you a good amount of like it was people who was getting chicken tender trays. Now, you know, in most places where you go to, when you get a tray, the side of fries is going to be in that little cup area. And it's not going to be a shit ton of fries, right? You got a butt ton of fries. They put them in the side area. They put them in the middle with the chicken tenders. Like you got at one of these events I went to, they had a bucket of chicken tenders with fries, yo. Loved it. But it was just so crazy to me that the places right beside each other. One place had the clear, superior, better French fries than the other one. But the other one was more expensive. And the line for the more... Now, I think what it was the burgers at the more expensive one. They had to be... Mind you, the more expensive one had hot dogs, too. Now, I don't care what nobody say. Oh, you eat glizzies, yada, yada. Listen. You got a good hot dog, they will come. All right? You build it, they will come. You build a good glizzy, they will come. You eat them nasty pork mixed with chicken hot dogs, you're a weirdo, okay? I'm talking about premium glizzy, okay? Premium beef glizzies. The good stuff. Those are the kind of hot dogs you're trying to get to when you eating hot dogs, okay? And mind you, there was a lot of people in there who was actually smart about it. Like, I saw a lot of people who was we had great seats. Great seats. We could see the entrances. Like, we could see them walking down the entranceway just very clear. And we could see into the ring clear. Some of the best seats we done had, even though it was by far the worst show I done went to at a WWE event. By far. And I promise I'm not being ungrateful, but all I'm saying is I don't plan on going to another Raw show until they fix that line. Mind you, this was a free show, so I'm not trying to sound ungrateful anyways. My brother hit me up one day and was like, yo, I got tickets to a Raw show. You trying to go? And at first I was like, man, do I want to make that drive down to Greensboro? Two, do I really want to go to this show? I was like, fuck it, yeah, I do. So I went ahead, got up, made that drive, and enjoyed myself. Like, the best parts about wrestling shows, because at the end of the day, while to me the product in the ring wasn't necessarily the greatest to me, like overall the show, one of the best parts about a wrestling show, if you've never been to a WWE event, is the fans. You in a crowd of people who all is there. That's why I always say that the crowd being there live is different from watching it on TV. Because you're not going to be able to fit, like, you get into a section, and like me and my brother sat next to one dude behind us who was a fan of all the heels, and then the girl beside us who was a fan of all the baby faces. So that interesting dynamic, becoming cool with strangers and rooting with or against each other throughout the midst of the show, Not to mention, I will say this about the WWE events. Every single one I done went to, that had great food. So while this one probably had the least amount of, I have to keep remembering I done been to pay-per-views. So pay-per-views are always going to have way more food, way more like pay-per-view stuff is top notch. I'm going to have to keep remembering that. But I done been to Raw shows that had better food selections than the one that we had this time. But nonetheless, all the food that I done had, it's just an experience. You get good food, you get a good show. Not to mention, the lights is low. So it's not like you in a bright area. This gonna sound weird, but it's like an intimate experience with a whole bunch of fans who came to eat good food, be around other wrestling fans, and enjoy a great wrestling show. To be entertained by a wrestling product, whether it be in the ring, on the mic, whatever it may be. That's what make the whole experience great. So if you've never been to a WWE show, and the ticket's not expensive, I'm gonna just tell you that right now. If it's in your city or in a city close to you that you can drive to, where the drive ain't bad, listen, I'm telling you, you should go to one, because they worth it. They are very much worth it, especially if you can get to a pay-per-view. Now, the tickets might be a little bit more expensive for a pay-per-view. And I guess that it based off of the arena that the event is in could be based off of what's considered a good ticket. That Greensboro arena that I went to for that show, that arena is basically a great arena based off of how it was set up, because it was one area nobody could sit at, but that was behind like the video board and shit like that. Other than that, everybody basically had a great view. Now, I went to a show one time. I can't remember what city it was in or what state it was in. But it was at a show one time where the video board was set up. Yo, nobody could see. They had seats like set up behind the video board. So it was hard for some people to be able to see like the product in the ring. Not only that, some of the seats that was set up was behind like these long poles that was like, behind these tall poles that was like pretty thick tall poles. Some people's seats was behind those. That was probably the craziest setup I ever been to with as far as like bad seats. I'm trying to remember I'm trying to think of like the best seating. You know, it was crazy. See, I said the product wasn't that bad, but like, because I was looking across the arena and I'm like, I can't imagine it's too many bad seats based off of where my seat's at. Well, you know what? I could see. I just can't, because I don't know. It was a great experience. If you ain't never been to a wrestling event, you can go to a wrestling event. Get you a friend. Get you a loved one. Get you a significant other. Get somebody who want to go to one. I'm trying to tell you. And bring you some money, because the concessions is pretty high. I think we paid like for 2 bottles for a Sierra, my brother got a nasty ass Star and I got a Pepsi. I think that was like $10. So it's expensive. But listen, like the burger combo was like $15. It's expensive. But listen, you come in, this is like going to a movie or a concert or something like this. So you expecting to pay, you know what I'm saying, a good chunk of change to have a full experience. Like me and my brother and two of my brothers and one of my homeboys from work, we all planning on going to the next event. We planning on a next event we gonna go to, and we're gonna do it big, man. So, you know, next time, if you can go to an event, go to one. With that being said, though, I appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. You can be anything in the world. Choose to be kind to somebody today. Like, subscribe, share. Saint out.
Somebody sent me something on my phone and it said that I hog-tied her. I don't know how to hog-tie people.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking or something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber. You out here chasing a bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.